Hello, viewers. You are specially welcome to today's philosophy class. And in today's class, we are going to look at the mother of all the discussions we have been having in this class and even the ones we'll be having after today. And that has to do with the concept philosophy. So today, we are going to discuss on the concept philosophy. Before now, we have been discussing parts of philosophy. We have discussed philosophy of unity. We have discussed philosophy of fear. And we'll be discussing other philosophies and branches and parts of philosophy. But today we are discussing philosophy itself. So we want to know what is philosophy and of course who are philosophers. So let us start our definition of philosophy from its etymological meaning, from its root meaning. Philosophy is a coinage from two Greek words, phileo and sophia. Phileo means love, and sophia is translated to mean wisdom. Simply put, philosophy is love of wisdom. By this etymological definition, we can say that philosophers are lovers of wisdom. Beyond and beside these etymological definitions, there are so many other definitions to the concept philosophy. Some people see philosophy as critical reflection of the whole essence of our life, while some talk of philosophy as the knowledge of the truth. Some see philosophy as man's quest for the ultimate reality. Some others see philosophy as curiosity to know the truth. So from all these definitions, we come to know that philosophers are those who are curious to know the truth. There are people who are not comfortable with what is, but always want to know what ought to be. It is this critical mind, this attitude of asking questions about everything to know, that some people fallaciously accuse philosophers to be those who do not believe in the existence of God. That is what we call fallacy of hasty generalization. You generalize it because there are so many philosophers that do believe in the existence of God. Yes, actually, we cannot doubt the fact that some philosophers do not believe in the existence of God. But the point is that their disbelief is predicated on the fact that they are saying that they have not gotten sufficient reasons to believe in the existence of God. Philosophers don't settle for just belief. They want to know. But the important thing we should know is this. We do not know God. We cannot know God in a community of people. God is not just a communal being. We can know God personally. It has to do with personal encounter. So we must transcend the level of belief to the horizon of knowledge. It is wrong, to me, to just settle for belief. No amount of teaching, no amount of lecture will give sufficient reasons to the belief in the existence of God. You must have the experience. You must encounter God for you to know that God exists. Just like the concept fear. No matter the definition somebody will give about fear, no matter the explanation one will offer to the concept fear, you will not still understand it until you experience fear. So you will not know God until you encounter Him. I'm a philosopher, and by God's grace, I've encountered God. I have personal encounter with Him. So I cannot just talk about believing in God. I can say that I know God. Those who do not believe, they are yet to transcend beyond the geography of the belief to the horizon of knowledge. When they do, I believe, sometime, someday, some of them will have sufficient reasons to believe and to know that God exists. Until then, those are the only people that say there is no God, who do not believe in the existence of God, but not just philosophers. This erroneous belief about who philosophers are has made some person to stay away from philosophers. To some of them, that going close to philosophers may corrupt their minds. But this is very wrong. Going close to philosophers will even help to remove some mental cobwebs from you, will help to remove those idols that distort you from knowing the truth. Philosophers are not corrupt people. They are people who always desire for justice, desire for what is truth. They are after truth, justice, fairness, equity. Those are philosophers. There are people who don't attach so much importance to material wealth. That's not to say they cannot acquire wealth, but they don't attach so much importance to it. They are lovers of what is right. So when Socrates says, until philosophers become kings and princes of this world begin to act like philosophers, the world will never experience peace. What that actually meant was that until those who want to occupy a position of leadership begin to love truth, begin to go for justice, begin to stand for fairness and equity, and those already in positions of leadership start behaving like philosophers, start loving truth, start speaking truth, start going for justice and fairness, then there will never be peace in the civil society. That is the meaning of it. It was not just professional philosophers, but those who have been able to remove some mental cobwebs in their brain. But for you to do that, you need much training. You need to train your mind to remove all sorts of bias from it, so that you stand as a fair judge in the court of justice. That is when you stand and see yourself as a king in a kingdom that is desiring peace and unity, love and honesty. So you always ensure that your action reflects justice. Until we have such people in the position of leadership, we can never experience peace. Philosophers don't settle for what is. Let us manage it now. That is what is often obtainable here. No, philosophers don't stand for what is obtainable. They want to know what ought to be. Some people have started being settled for what is, what they have seen. Anything goes, so let it be. That can never be the aspiration of any philosopher. A philosopher wants to get to what ought to be the ideal state of it. They don't settle for what is. That is the difference between a philosopher and a non-philosopher. You must always aspire for what ought to be. You must always want to establish the standard for everybody to say it is a good standard. Until we have leaders who have this kind of mindset, who are curious to establishing justice, then the world will never experience peace. That makes philosophers to always ask questions, to always curious to know. You ask questions about everything, and some people may feel so uncomfortable with philosophical questions. To some of them, such questions are not necessary. See, there are things we claim to know, but upon critical evaluation, we come to know that we didn't know them after all. For example, if I ask you, have you ever seen yellow? Have you ever seen blue? Have you ever come in contact with white? You say, after all, what kind of question is it? All this nonsense kind of question. Have been seeing red? Are you not putting on blue? Is that not red here? That is white too. Why are you asking, have you ever seen white? But remember, I didn't ask you, have you ever seen white shirts, blue shirts, white color, blue color? I was asking, have you ever seen white in itself, blue in itself? It is in this kind of deep reasoning that you come to know, wow, this blue I claim to know. I only know blue shades. I've never seen blue in itself. I only see blue dye. I've never seen blue in itself. These are the kind of things philosophers open our minds to know. Not just to settle for things because people agree it to be true, but they want you to know if actually what you claim to know is true. Philosophers are lovers of truth, lovers of wisdom, lovers of knowledge. They are not biased in their dealing. That is why we need people with philosophical attitude to be our leaders. That is why we need our leaders to begin to have philosophical attitude. Until philosophers are made kings, and kings and princes of this world begin to act like philosophers, it will be difficult for us to experience peace. Thank you so very much. Until I come your way next time, for now, stay philosophical.